This is Things You Might Have Heard, and I am Jay Clifton Payne. This is the 31st of July, 2025, rolling through this third quarter, making our way into August tomorrow on Friday, and it's a pretty big, busy day for us here. We have 8 stories, as always, for Thursday, but because of the breaking news things going on and us being a tertiary source of news, make sure you look out for your main sources as they're looking into more details in this breaking news for the Delta flight that had 25 people taken to the hospital for emergency landing due to some turbulence, and, of course, the arrest at the Devil's Den National Park murders in Arkansas, something local to here, with more details on that one. But we are going to deal with some stories that are conversational based off of yesterday and your responses, and including the NTSB and that other flight that we had a lot of talk about, basically beginning the big flights issues having here. More Sydney Sweeney with some support you may not expect. Katy Perry for some reason. And of course, in the teaser graphic, yes, Kamala is back, but not back. We'll explain that and tell you how that's more of a horror than an actual sentiment of goodness right now. Remind you that our website home, this is theconversationproject.com, is where you can find all the details about what we do for the Conversation Project and be involved as well. You can check out our partnerships page and sponsors page to help us involve that. Of course, the news there, and our main sponsor for today, our spotlight sponsor today, is Ground News. Check them out at this is theconversationproject.com/ground news, an affiliate sponsor link, where if you click on that link and you choose to subscribe to Ground News, get 40% off one of their plans, and get a small commission in that wake. As we said, it's the 31st of July. Let's get into the news stories with 8 stories that you helped us pick for the conversation in this morning. We start off with a mystery that has been solved for the most part. An Army helicopter in a fatal Midair crash was flying above altitude limits in the D.C. area, says the NTSB. The U.S. Army helicopter involved in the deadly collision with the civilian aircraft was operating in an authorized altitude from the National Transportation Safety Board confirmed. So that basically puts the helicopter at fault, although the fault, as very much screamed at by the folks running the hearing yesterday, was that the people running air traffic control and people making things work out. The crash killed 5 soldiers aboard the aircraft. They were doing a training mission over the rural area that last year. Preliminary findings show the military chopper entered controlled airspace without coordination, contributing to the mid-air collision with the aircraft, the larger commercial aircraft that was there. The civilian pilot also failed to follow air traffic control instructions, so he's not completely in the good graces, if you will. The Army's deviation from their actual position raised sharp questions about their training protocols. No one gets out of this alive, unfortunately, as a bad pun, but no one gets out of this one unscathed as the issue of how we're going to deal with this issue. Essentially, the helicopter was in the wrong spot, and the aircraft did not actually follow commands to be safer. Therefore, we had this very dangerous mid-air clash in the Washington Potomac area. Military aviation experts say this could trigger a reevaluation of joint use of airspace procedures nationwide, which has already been kind of rippling through in the facts. But definitely at this point, how training will be done in civilian airspaces will definitely be relooked at, evaluated going forward. We teased her in the opening. She's teasing us, if you will, with her announcements. She has announced that's Miss Kamala Harris, a former vice president, former senator, former attorney general for California, not going to run for California governor. Ruled it out completely. Any of the speculation of what her political campaign might be in 2026, but also making questions box for what campaign may go for 2028. The statement came amid a renewed chatter along Gavin Newsom and his term limits. Basically, what's he going to do after he's done in 2 years? Essentially, he's more or less playing up a way to see if he is ready or if the country is ready for him to take that big spot for president. And will the Kamala Harris just slide in and take governor spot while he's gone? Right now, Kamala Harris is not going to take second banana to Gavin Newsom and just take that spot or try to take that spot, which oddly enough makes it wide open for other people to run for governor in California. Katie Porter seems to be the main face, main voice behind what would be the next governor there. But there are plenty of folks out there vying for viability to run that very Democratic state. The problem is, if Harris focused her campaign in 2024 to get a presidency after she was in the vice presidency, and of course in 2020 she ran for the presidency and was eventually brought into the fold with after a big sort of blast against Joe Biden to get her a little bit of contention, and then dropping out of the race, brought into the fold as the Black Indian female vice president to make history there. And then, of course, given a chance to run as president when he dropped out. Donald Trump overtook everything, and Joe Biden dropped out. Didn't win so well. Political analysts say the decision is pretty clear that everybody's up for grabs in the big deal for going forward in the national election. So Kamala Harris is probably shooting for president again. She just needs to get the right backing. Gavin Newsom is probably shooting for president this time. He needs to get the right backing. There'll be some other names that will come out after 2026 when things kind of turn into a real dogfight, and we'll see who's going to take over that end. Now, it may be a little easier for a Democrat to win as the incumbent won't be running, or the imposed incumbent that was Donald Trump. We hope, but we'll see what happens as Republicans put up a viable MAGA candidate to keep on that drive going, and the Democrats, after an autopsy, after some soul searching, after hand wringing, will figure out what they need to do to re-win some big seats in the national elections, and the big one as the president. It's turning into a party as Canada joins the ranks of nations, including the UK and France, who are going to recognize a Palestinian state because they see what's going on in Gaza as not so great. The biggest issue is, for Canada specifically, it's another target for Donald Trump to just basically needle at them. In fact, he's doing it on social media right now. Canada will formally recognize a Palestinian state in September, joining France and UK in this growing shift from Western policy. The Prime Minister is saying the move will reflect the support of the two-state solution amid the stalled peace talks. The decision signals growing diplomatic distance between Canada and the administration for Trump, which remains opposed to unilateral recognition. Pro-Israeli groups have condemned the move as premature and destabilizing. Palestinian advocates hailed it as long overdue. The problem is, it's really the latter and not the former, and the complexities of the time and the being and what's going on, especially with the October 7th attacks, made this thing that much more difficult to make something easy happen. And because there are still hostages being held by Hamas, Hamas is essentially the de facto government in Gaza, and Hamas has been very bad at that. It's hard to come down to any sort of actual common ground to make a ceasefire, to make a arms down, to give the Palestinians any sort of state in that area. And Israel not making it any easier as it will. Pressure is being added by other allies to basically make this thing happen and force some sort of peace. We'll see what happens as the U.S. is backing Israel to its top, and other folks are trying to say, hey, someone needs to push this to make this actually turn towards something peaceful. A surprise pairing as Ted Cruz is stepping up for Sydney Sweeney's defense amid the American Eagle ad controversy. You would think Ted Cruz would want to keep his nose out of something like this, but apparently not. The senator has come to the defense of actress Sydney Sweeney following the backlash over her appearance in the American Eagle ad campaign. Controversy stems from claims that the brand's messaging trivialized working class struggles and promoted narrow beauty ideas. The Sydney Sweeney has great genes is sort of a double speak, where Sydney Sweeney, a very beautiful Caucasian actress, has great genes, being beautiful and Caucasian, and is wearing great jeans sold by American Eagle that they're trying to sell. Cruz called the outrage manufactured nonsense and criticized what he called celebrity cancel culture. Sweeney actually hadn't said anything about this at all because she's an actress. She's a model. She's in an ad campaign, and it's really American Eagle's fault for whatever's going on. If they put out something that didn't seem the right tone, then it's American Eagle's fault. And not many people, unless you're an online troll, are really throwing heat at Sydney Sweeney. She's just in the ad. She's selling stuff. She sold her bathwater 2 months ago, and no one complained about that. Now the complaints are coming because, yeah, it is a bit manufactured. And Ted Cruz likes manufactured outrage, so there you go. It highlights the ongoing tension between branding, politics, and celebrity endorsements, especially now that the senator's involved, and our media cycles. We need so many things to fill our media roles, so many things to keep us engaged, that Ted Cruz and Sydney Sweeney are a thing. And yeah, we'll get to Katy Perry in a minute. That's a wild one too. But the fact that we're bringing this up is kind of the problem. So if you enjoy me making trouble and being a problem, then like the video you're watching, like any of our stuff on our platforms out there, like, share, and subscribe to completely because it helps me know that we're doing good stuff. If you like it, the algorithm will see it's a like and will share it with more folks. If you share it, more folks will see it, and you subscribe. I know I'm catching the right folks in our News Nerd Nation with what's going on. You get this directly into your feed, not have to wait for a lucky algorithm hit or someone who already is subscribed to share it with you. So if you're enjoying the news and the commentary that we give to you, like, share, and subscribe so we can make sure you get more of it to you. And you can, of course, engage with me directly via the website, via the comments, via email address, the conversation inbox at gmail.com, so we can know what we can do directly for you and your news nerd habits. We're going to go back to reflect on the passing of Ozzy Osbourne and Hulk Hogan here in the next two stories. The first one, a good one. The next one, not so great. Thousands line up in the streets of Birmingham for Ozzy Osbourne's funeral procession. Fans packed the streets of Birmingham, England to bid farewell to rock legend Ozzy Osbourne during a public funeral procession. As the cars passed by, the streets were filled with many fans and cheers of what was going on, watching and actually doing what they can to show their love to their late rock icon and the family that he had with him. The 76-year-old passed away earlier this month and sparked tributes across the community. Not much controversy for him. The controversies for the next guy. It basically stopped near his childhood home and local landmarks to basically show him literally mama coming home to see his final resting place. Many attendees wore Black Sabbath t-shirts, held signs honoring showing the influence of the rock and roll music legend. Local officials said that turnout was among the city's largest public gatherings in recent memory. People definitely saying their goodbyes as the Prince of Darkness makes his way on to his next step, his final concert appearance, if you will. Now, not so great one. Brooke Hogan has removed herself from Hulk Hogan's will and will receive nothing from the estate when it's all said and done. The daughter of the late wrestling star Hulk Hogan has confirmed she voluntarily removed herself from her father's will. This comes amid heightened public interest following Hogan's death and speculation about whatever's in the family inheritance. She stated, being Brooke, that her father made peace years ago based on their back and forth and personal growth, and they are not estranged, but she wants nothing in with the legal deals. Legal analysts note that her statement may preempt challenges or misinterpretations related to the state's proceedings. Fans have reacted with a mix of admiration and curiosity as Hogan's legacy continues to dominate the headlines. This one here, it has people scratching their heads about what exactly is in this will, what exactly in his estate, and the state of health, which was questionable at the time, was the state of his estate still as well. Hogan still is dealing with issues with, I believe, his ex-wife. I believe they're actually divorced, and still have some issues with his son that were both famous in the family for Hogan Knows Best. But we're going to see what happens in court apparently for this one. But whatever's happening, Brooke Hogan wants no part of it. The downfall of JCPenney continues as the Simon Property Group and Brookfield have sold nearly 120 JCPenney locations in $1 billion commercial real estate deal. They're trying to save themselves by selling off the real estate, which is what's really worth something, not so much stores. The sale involves transferring real estate ownership, not store operations, and is part of a broader retail footprint reshaping. Investors behind the deal aim to repurpose underperforming mall spaces into mixed-use developments. Analysts say the transactions reflect shifting strategies for legacy retail brands and, of course, post-COVID activity that we have now. We don't shop in larger spaces. We don't gather in places. We do a lot of things online, and we don't even do much of these showcases anymore. We're looking for stuff. We just buy it and send it back if we don't like it. JCPenney will continue to operate the stores under long-term lease agreements, avoiding intermediate closures. But that does mean if the JCPenney companies, the groups that owns it, don't own the real estate, that means when leases are up, when time is down, that may mean your store may be closer to closing because the store isn't owned, the physical store isn't owned by the company. And with so many actual really big things going on, yes, we're talking about Justin Trudeau dining with Katy Perry. Yes, we're going there. We have to have a kicker, and this is a kicker of all sorts. Justin Trudeau was spotted dining with Katy Perry in Montreal. The Canadian Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, former Prime Minister, seen dining with the pop star at a high-profile Montreal restaurant. Sighting confirmed by onlookers and social media footage, such as this here, fueled speculation about the nature of their meeting. No official statements were clarified for what was going on, whether it was political, whether it was personal or promotional. Just Justin Trudeau in a corner of a restaurant eating with Katy Perry. But the timing coincides with Perry's tour stop in Canada and Trudeau's recent boost in cultural outreach efforts. He's not working as prime minister anymore, so now he's out there with the people, and Katy Perry is the people. The dinner is more curiosity than controversy, but hey, we need something to sort of smile at these days with all what we have going on. Right now, not sure if we can smile at it, but we do have great news for you if you're looking for actual great news. It's Ground News, our spotlight sponsor for this program. What Ground News offers for you is a way to examine, a way to understand, a way to really see how your news is being covered, how the stories are being shaped, how different outlets want you to see what they want you to see. And it is what they want you to see. Your favorite news outlet is your favorite for a reason. They play to you the way you want to get your news or what you want to hear sometimes. So, in that sense, Ground News does what it can to tell you what all news agencies are telling you. So, just in case your agency is a bit biased or your agency has a bit of a slant, you can gauge the news based on what is being covered. Now, most of the details are all typical the same, the news part, but you can see side-by-side comparisons of headlines, which may be there to grab your attention, side-by-side comparisons of some of the details of some of the work that may be there to hold you into it. So you can see with your actual own eyes, research what's being covered and how by other folks. And the blind spot feature that they very much tout, which is very important to you, checks out what's being shown to certain people based on what they're looking for. If they're conservative news readers or liberal news readers, they can see what the other side is showing their sides, so you can see what is not being shown to you. If you go to our link, this is theconversationproject.com/ground news today, you can get 40% off their Vantage plan and all their plans for news coverage. And we get a small commission for that. Get the real deal, get the real details, get all the details in your news with Ground News today. Use our affiliate link and you get a great deal and help us out in the process. This is theconversationproject.com/ground news. So Pithy didn't work out so much today, going a little longer today. So we're glad you stuck around with us. Thank you so much for this Thursday, July 31st edition of the things you might have heard. A bit rambling, a bit scrambly. Last night, if you heard me do my my short hot take on Kamala Harris, I opened up with, I had a long day, I'm tired, and now I have to talk about Kamala Harris. And that's sort of how the day turned out as well. Make sure you check out other news sources to get the details on that Delta flight that dealt with turbulence and the details on the arrest in the Devil's Den National Park murders, because those are big deals going forward. We did not want to give them lack of time that we're trying to do here for the quick take, so it's here. But for longer hot takes, look out for us on YouTube and on TikTok. Follow us on the feeds on X and Facebook and engage, so I know that I'm doing the right bits of stories. Maybe I should have did the other stories. You let me know in your engagement. Love you, mean it. Let's do this again. Let's go 5 days of this for tomorrow.